In honor of Pride Month, I'm going to start with a reflection on tumbling as a gender affirming practice. Tumbling requires its athletes to constantly find themselves in the middle of traditionally opposing traits: strong versus flexible, cautious versus daring, artistic versus calculated. And that is what makes tumblers some of the most impressive athletes on the planet. I've loved tumbling since before I can even remember. Most of my skills I don't even remember learning, but I know for a fact that tumbling was what I thought about every day until about middle school, when I realized something inside me was different than my friends. Once I was in middle school, my friends wanted to talk about boys when I still wanted to talk about tumbling. My friends wanted to go to Abercrombie and I still wanted to tumble in a field. Tumbling was where I felt at home in my body, and everywhere else, my body felt foreign to me. I didn't come out as a lesbian until my early 20s, and as I've evolved, I've become more and more gender nonconforming. Before I was out, I dressed in a way that was expected of me. I had the same boyfriend through high school and college. I went through the motions knowing something about me didn't make sense. The more I realized I was different, the more scared I was of myself, and the more I felt like no one could really see me. I took the plunge by chopping my hair and dressing androgynously, and my body started to feel like home all the time, everywhere. But during the pain of shedding my old skin and rediscovering who I am and who I wanted to be, I wanted to leave everything and everyone who had previously known me behind. Partially, I resented the time I wasted feeling like no one really knew me, including myself. On the other hand, I was desperate to make the pain of the process worth it by creating a life for myself in which I could not just be seen for my true self, but celebrated. If no one in my life could see the pain I was in then, how could they possibly celebrate me now? But the thing that kept bringing me back to my roots was tumbling, the place that had always made sense to both my mind and my body. There's been times that I ask myself, why can't I just let this part of my life go? With a bachelor's, master's, and PhD, isn't it time to move on? Why does tumbling mean so much to me when I could easily be making more money almost anywhere else, or at least be making the world a better place? Immediately, though, I think of my 9-year-old self and the joy tumbling brought me. I think of how tumbling was the best part of my day as a 13-year-old depressed lesbian, where finally my body made sense to me. Tumbling saved my life before I even knew it needed saving. Tumbling doesn't care about who you are, what you're wearing, or where you come from. The requirements of power, correct angles, and proper shaping are the same for everyone, no matter who the athlete is according to the world. While this may be humbling for some, I've always found it to be comforting. To tumbling, gender doesn't exist, and it sure as hell doesn't care about sexuality. Sure, athletes are split by gender in practice or competitions, but that's not tumbling's decision. With proper training and progressions, any athlete can do any skill. If anyone tells you otherwise, they don't really know tumbling. One of my favorite scholars, Gorian Saldua, once asked, "Who gives us permission to write?" speaking as a queer woman of color. She continues, "To write is to confront one's demons, to look them in the face and live to write about them. Writing is dangerous because we are afraid of what the writing reveals. The fears, the angers, the strengths of a woman under triple or quadruple oppression. Yet in that very act lies our survival, because a woman who writes has power, and a woman with power is feared. I say, mujer mágica, empty yourself. Shock yourself into new ways of perceiving the world, and shock your readers into the same. And stop the chatter inside their heads. Your skin must be sensitive enough for the lightest kiss, and thick enough to ward off the sneers." If you reread that quote and replace writing with tumbling, everything said holds true. Who gives us permission to tumble? A child on a playground doesn't ask for permission to try their first cartwheel. Tumbling is a demonstration of agency coming from one's curiosity of their mind and body. Tumbling is, for many of us, our first way of exploring our bodies, our capabilities, as well as our fears. I truly believe that the confidence I built in my own strength and power through tumbling gave me the bravery I needed to live my truth. If tumbling is not inherently intertwined with the way that we move through the world, what we've experienced, and who we are as people, why do mental blocks affect us so deeply? Why do we even tumble at all? Through tumbling, we learn about ourselves and our potential. Tumbling reminds us of our power as well as our humility. It teaches us to have both patience and faith in our future. The mind-body distinction in tumbling is blurred, since the presence of both are equally necessary. Tumbling makes it very apparent when there's a disconnect. Through tumbling, we learn how to read our own mental and physical states, and we develop tools to regulate them. What we don't always acknowledge, however, is the chance to carry these lessons into other facets of our life. Ansaldua's assertion that one can be shocked into perceiving the world in new ways extends to the perception of the self. Tumbling expands our minds to discover the true potential of our bodies. And for me, that meant knowing I had the strength in me to live in this world in a way I could feel celebrated. It also meant learning that my mind and body are worth it, and that I deserve to feel at home in my body everywhere I go. Thank you, tumbling, for showing me what that looks like.